and the cracks of the streets. Struggling for some food and a bed to sleep. While trying to cause overthrow, I'm feeling weak. Ideology.
I don't know. The whole Seattle like political thing is kind of crazy right now because they add so many infiltrators. It's a trip. It's really hard to tell what's happening. Sometimes you just set off, and other times people are just straight up working with the police, and it's just hard to tell who is who at sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no
And
doubt.
the smoke out here has been fucking
Yeah,
with
no
people
doubt,
too.
man. I mean, it's not unlike what's going on in other places around the country, bro. It's just crazy how well co-opted the movement has been, and how you see people who may look like they're down for the cause, but you realize everybody's not sitting at the table for the same reason. Like that's definitely not something that I foresaw as being such a huge part of what's going on, at least where I'm at. So I feel you on that, brother. It's crazy out here, man. Watch out the snakes in the grass, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but there's levels to it out here. I'll be honest with you. So there's the people who are in it for alternative reasons, whether being a politician or trying to get some money out of it. But there's also people who are actively working with the pigs and shit. So it gets like really complicated fast because a lot of people really ain't in the right zone and not on the right side. You know what I mean? But it's hard to tell the reasons why they're not. And they're all pretending like they're revolutionary, but you gotta listen to the rhetoric and actually judge what they're saying and what they're doing versus just like calling themselves a revolutionary, but then they're saying protect the precinct or something stupid. You know what I mean? Like,
And
what?
we're throwing the R word around pretty loosely these days. I'm kinda upset about that, man. I really have more faith and belief in certain people, organizers specifically, who throw that R word around in conversation as if they about that action or about that life, or at least, believe in the value of direct action and mutual aid and those things that we rely upon. But then when the flame hits, all of a sudden it's wait, hold on, everybody, let's slow down. Let's think about, and to me, I don't know, I've always said that when the time comes to show and prove, people will walk in what they believe. I don't want to hear what you believe. I'm stopping niggas on sentence one now. I'm a this, fuck that, fuck what you are. Show me. You know what I'm saying? Show me. Talk about what your politic is as you articulate it. I give a fuck about what your politic is as you live it. Nothing else matters anymore. It ain't 2019. It's not 2018 no more. You know what I'm saying? So fuck what they talking about, man. Show me. You got to show me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing is like, even we hear about this, like, was it, Ruthie, everybody's calling her RBG. I'm like, that's just mad disrespectful. Like, why are you calling this white woman RBG right now? Man, that's like that's supposed to be, and we're all sitting here mourning this person like they supposed to make some difference, but at the same time they're laying down pipelines. At the same time they're working for the same fascist society and state that is like literally killing us. You know what I mean?
Man,
And I don't know.
good comrade of mine said something very, very, very subtle but significant, and I retweeted him. Check my Twitter out if you want to see it. But he said that a judge is a cop.
Facts. I mean, they're almost worse than a cop. You know what I mean? A
Not
judge.
like, regardless of levels of it. If it's abolish the police, if it's fuck 12, if it's even fuck the police, you know what I mean? Like if that's just the sentiment, then it's got to be fuck everybody from the top to the bottom. It ain't like certain individuals get a chance or get a pass. I don't give a fuck what your record is, and that's the other side. And the ideology of abolition has to be institutional. It has to be from top to bottom, left to right, from the janitor all the way to the CEO, and everybody in between. So like, yeah, like my good comrade put it very, very like simply, but a judge is a cop. Like, get off her dick. It's like move on. You know what I mean? Like, whether or not she's replaced with somebody who is more aligned with a conservative ideology does not matter, because we're ready to lay it down for what has already happened. We're ready to lay it down for what has already transpired. Fuck what happens next. Now, if you've already crossed that threshold of that point of no return, then fuck what's going on in those offices or in those hollowed halls. Fuck all that. I intend to piss through all that shit. So, like, I don't give a fuck who's sitting in that chair. It doesn't matter to me. It's the same result. You know what I mean? It ain't like somebody could be appointed and we be like, oh, okay, bet. Like, okay, cool. We good. Like, it's all good and I appreciate it. Fuck that, bro. Nah, fuck it. A judge is a cop. Fuck her and everybody else who's mourning her death. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and as cold as that is, it's a cold world. Tell that to the people who she murdered with the stroke of a pen, how cold this world is. I don't want to give a, I don't care nothing about that. No sympathies from me, or nobody that I give a fuck about.
See, like a pig, a cop, for example, this is how I'll be feeling about it. A pig is straight up the slave catcher, right? But when you talk about who's the slave master, you're talking about the judge, you're talking about the CO, you're talking about the warden, you know what I mean? And that's like, we got to really think about that because we can't be more than these judges. I don't give a fuck that if she was black, she's not. She's a white woman. But if she was black, it still wouldn't be no good. Because what are you working for? What are you doing? Like, you're doing it for a white supremacist system that is against black folks and against indigenous folks, you know what I mean? So, like, it's pretty crucial when people are like, oh, this person, I'm like, what? Why are we worried about that person? I mean, because if we're going to mourn somebody, there's a lot of our folks that have died since, like, this shit started that we should be elevating instead of some judge. You know what I mean?
I mean, here's where I stand on all of that, because I pay very little attention to the minutia of the moving pieces of the machinery. I give a fuck less who's running for office in whatever district. I give a fuck less even who's running for president. It makes no difference to me because, like we're ready to lay it down for what's already transpired. Hundreds and hundreds of years of this shit. So fuck what happens now, fuck what happens next. That's where I'm at with it. But, period, new paragraph. The point that I'm making about this particular conversation is the institution is rotten from its core. The institution is responsible for the deaths of many, many, many of state-sanctioned genocide. So, like, yeah, if you attach yourself and your talents and your ideas and your gifts to that system, then fuck you. Period. Give a fuck.
Yeah.
Black, blue, green, orange, doesn't matter. Like, if you attach those gifts and those talents and that propensity to intelligence and whatever it requires to be that type of individual, and you attach it to that machine of death, I take it upon myself to see you as being a reasonably intelligent individual. You're reasonably intelligent if you've arrived at that place in your profession. You're reasonably intelligent enough to understand the history of this nation and to work it to support it after having that understanding and know fuck you and everything that you believe in. So, like, I'm done with electoral politics, because unless you're running on a platform of abolition, a platform of tearing down the institutions that uphold the standard of the status quo, then our politics is not the same. Our politics is not even similar. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people have this idea that there will be somebody on the ballot somewhere across the line that their politic will be revolutionary. No. It's antithetical. It's the thesis, the main idea, the big idea of what you believe in is anti what I believe. It's antithetical. So no, they like there will never ever be anybody on the ballot that represents my politic. My politic is represented by the power of the people. It's organizing in the grassroots. It's building up alternative institutions in the community. So fuck a judge. Honestly, fuck a judge. And I anticipate judges all around the country to get to a point where they realize fuck 12 means fuck them too. And they're going to be turning up them goddamn charges on all of us. So we anticipate this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to understand this is warfare on that level, that those levels of the machine will be activated as they become necessary. This battle will not remain at the street level. So we've got to be thinking in that direction as we organize. We've got to be intelligent in the way that we move, because everything that's transpired, man, it's been lit, bro. It's crazy. The May 29th to now, the uprising, if that's what we call in this, and history will have to decide what this actually is. But from that to now is just the preseason, my nigga. It's the preseason. It's an election coming up in a couple months. And you know it's going up. I've heard somebody say who I believe is I respect this individual, is intelligent individual, well-read, all that bullshit. And this person said that they believe that the period from the election to the actual inauguration will be the most dangerous period in American history since the Civil War. So, like,
I mean,
where
you already seen how it's been. Like, how it's been setting off, how they've been trying to, like, lay us down. The problem is, like, motherfuckers are so caught up in, like you said, the electoral politics, they ain't even thinking about self-defense in a real way. Like, yeah, they want to look like self-defense, but when we talk about actually protecting our people, half the motherfuckers are still like, oh, we're going to, like, vote our way out of this shit. But ain't nobody care about no voting our way out of shit, because this shit is, how you going to vote our way out of the thing that established the voting system in the first place. The thing that established that to be able to keep us in place, keep us complacent, and not let us be able to find our freedom. And if we find our freedom, they know it's the fall of their empire. You know what I mean? So
that's true, man. I really think we should pay far more attention to intentionality. What is the intention? Not necessarily the result of the intention, but what's the intention? Because as a thing begins, it always is. My intention as I begin something is what it is, no matter if it takes a different form in the process of it being the thing. But this began as a process of genocide and land theft and all these in a process of raping the earth of her mineral value and her spiritual value, and replacing it with something totally artificial and full of bullshit and oppression and all these ugly things and wickedness. It began as that. So how the fuck are we falling for the jig? We falling for the bullshit of this is something different now. And then as it begins to slowly reveal its natural shape, as like the form begins to shake up and people are like, wait a minute, it's starting to look like America is becoming, no, it's not becoming nothing. It always was. So like, I think that we have to elevate our political imagination. Like we really have to elevate our imagination, because like the thing that's in front, like we're missing the forest for the tree. So many of us, and I'm specifically talking about organizers. I'm specifically talking about people who have an accountability to understand the big picture, not necessarily people who are showing up and going, because like that's everybody doesn't have the responsibility of understanding the big picture. But for those of us who call ourselves organizers, that's so trendy now. Fuck that. But if you're calling yourself an organizer, or you're engaging in an activity of organizing individuals, you have a responsibility to understand the big picture. Because if not, you may be leading your people off of a cliff. And I've seen that so many times on the streets. I've seen it so many times when people get excited. They get, oh yeah, rah rah. You get all of people start smelling blood in the air, my nigga. Like, because that's what time it is. People start smelling blood in the air. They say, oh, it's time to go to war. It's time now. People start getting their shit together. They masking up. Niggas is we ready to go because we breathing fire. It's been time. I've been waiting for this. And then you make a hard left turn and you run all that passion and all that energy and all that awareness, that political awareness of this is the moment. You got to snatch that, but people don't understand the big picture. And I'm not necessarily just talking about action on the street. I'm specifically talking about what's necessary in the moment, because the big picture isn't let's get 100,000 people in the street and turn the fuck up, rah, rah, rah. The big picture isn't even, and shout out to all the soldiers in Portland who went hard for 100+ days. But it ain't no participation trophies for that.
You can find the full interview on IGTV. Also, hit that bell, that like, and sub to Overthrow Media. And you can support us at Teespring by buying our new dope-ass merch. Trump is not essential. You know what it is. All right, catch y'all later.